Ohio State versus Clemson in the playoff semifinals yet again. And this year there is a lot of trash talk being exchanged. Thank you for clicking on this video. You are a good sport. This is College Football Media, and on this channel we talk college football teams, trends, and traditions all the way to logos, history, and predictions. If that sounds interesting to you, consider subscribing for in-depth college football content. These two teams have a lot of history in their series, especially considering that it only consists of 4 total games. The first meeting back in 1978, which was the infamous game that head coach Woody Hayes punched an opposing Clemson player. The other 3 matchups have all been in the Dabo-Swinney era, and the most recent 2 being playoff semifinals. Clemson blew out Ohio State in 2016, and we all remember the dramatic win last year. And so, interestingly, Clemson is 4-0 all-time against Ohio State. If this is the first prediction video of mine that you've seen, I've been doing things a little bit different here as of late for these end-of-the-season predictions, where I can keep track of how my gut feels versus what my brain thinks. After 2 conference championship game picks, both my gut and brain are 1-1 each. Albeit, my gut was just a little bit more accurate considering they both agreed on the SEC championship game. Nevertheless, we continue our semifinal predictions in perhaps an unconventional way.
What up? Howdy do, you fine fellas?
See what I mean? It's a pleasure, yet again, to be of your acquaintance. Likewise.
Can you believe that Dabo-Swinney ranked Ohio State all the way down at 11? That's ridiculously disrespectful no matter how you slice it.
Well, was Ryan Day's comments not also classified as, quote, disrespectful?
What else do you expect a coach to say to his players in the locker room? Of course he wants to get them fired up to win the big game. And that's all it takes, is 1 good game. Besides, isn't everyone else saying, including Dabo, that it's an advantage to be well-rested and healthy after only playing 6 games?
Here's the thing. I think it might be more of a disadvantage for Ohio State, because they have yet to play a complete game, being comfortable in their plan and execution and really go running on all cylinders. Whereas Clemson is playing some of their best football right now, after things really starting to click on all sides of the ball. As they've continued to go deeper into the season as a result of playing more games closer to that full season that we are accustomed to. By all accounts, Clemson is playing quality defensive ball right now. They are hitting their stride efficiently on offense. We haven't seen Ohio State play up to their potential as of yet. So, matching these teams based on what we have seen on the field to this point, Clemson simply is more prepared to play quality ball according to what I've seen from both teams so far this season.
If you haven't seen Ohio State play up to their full potential, then perhaps their ceiling is high enough to beat a good Clemson team, and maybe even win it all. In a typical year, you would see any team, whether they're talented or not, eventually play up to their full potential and have a peak game at some point in the season. But Ohio State has been far from their peak so far, but yet you would also expect those elite teams to play up to their potential, especially once. And if you haven't seen it yet from Ohio State, it's got to come in this game. Who would expect anything else otherwise? Ohio State has to bring their best game this week. So you've got to assume that they'll play their best ball.
Logically, however, it's more likely to have an average result of possible outcomes. And based on data accumulated to this point, it's reasonable to assume that Clemson should win, say, 7 out of 10 possible games. And you can give or take a few on that guess. But Clemson has a more efficient offense and defense. And I cannot qualify a pick for a hypothetical Ohio State's potential up against a proven Clemson. For those reasons, I predict Clemson to win this game.
But yet you went with circumstance and situation as the basis for your Alabama-Notre Dame prediction.
I stand by what I said. For each game is independent of one another, even if I don't always heed the warning of overthinking, because that is dangerous sometimes. But I am firm in my assessment of this game.
Okay then, we'll let that other semifinal work itself out. But for this game, I happen to differ from your analysis. And I firmly believe we'll see a completely different Ohio State team show up on Friday than you've seen all season long. Remember how furious they were coming off the loss last year to Clemson? Ready to dig deeper in the offseason, preparing for this exact opportunity. Then, their biggest opponent they had to defeat wasn't even on the field. They first had to overcome the Big Ten offices and win that battle before ever taking a snap. And like I said earlier, while Ohio State hasn't played up to their full potential yet, that's exactly what I expect to see in the Sugar Bowl. There's no way that they don't peak at some point this season. They fought too long and too hard to first even get a season and then not play up to their potential. Ohio State has guts, man. They got guts. And I believe they'll play their absolute best game against Clemson. Assuming that then leads me to believe that their ceiling is high enough to beat a good Clemson team. Man, I've been riding with Ohio State all year. My rally cap is on point. Not for the Buckeyes, but just in general, because we got guts, man. But they were my feeling to win the national championship in the preseason. And being your gut, by the way, I stick with what I feel. So I predict Ohio State to win the Sugar Bowl semifinal. Certainly a lot to consider in this matchup. Logically, it does make more sense for a consistent Clemson team to be more prepared to beat an unfinished looking Ohio State team. But I do feel strongly about the Buckeyes really showing up and showing out and being determined coming into this game. A lot of fans hope to see the Buckeyes kind of push through to another level of play to make a really competitive game. Both sides make a really good case. But for my final prediction, I'll go with my gut to see a high-scoring shootout type game. And somehow that best version of Ohio State is the version that shows up and shows out in New Orleans to upset the Clemson Tigers. That's my feel right now, even though logically it does indeed make more sense for Clemson to beat Ohio State based on what we've seen from the two teams to this point in the season. I just expect to see something from Ohio State that we haven't seen from them yet all season. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and consider subscribing for more in-depth college football content. I thank you for watching this video all the way until the end, and I thank you greatly for all of the support that has come to this channel throughout the entire year of 2020. I am immensely grateful. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a happy holidays, a happy new year, and God bless. So, for the last video of 2020, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, be goody now.